It is tax season. Yes, it is. And in a normal tax year, today would be tax day. But you know what? It's not, because it's actually May 17th for federal and North Carolina state taxes. However, if you owe taxes, you will be charged interest by the state until you make your payment. Okay, we're going to get into all of that. Lawmakers are currently discussing how to adjust that law, and we are following that closely, and we'll let you know what lawmakers decide. A lot is different this tax season for many people, which is why J.R. Cecil and Ryan Dodson with Liberty Tax Services are joining us today on Two Wants to Know, taking your questions about all things taxes. So here's how you get your question to our experts. You text the question to 336-379-5775. Remember, this is text only, so please don't call. All right, so first and foremost, tax day is, JR?
May 17th.
Yes, it is May 17th. Now, this is interesting because one of the first questions we got on the text is, do you think that the May 17th deadline will be even extended farther? Ryan, have you heard any rumblings?
Daniel, we have not heard any rumblings yet, so we're crossing our fingers. The deadline is going to remain May 17th. Normally, if there are any rumblings, we would kind of hear it coming our direction through our contacts with the IRS, but nothing yet.
All right, so this next question is, if you owe taxes for state, but not federal, will the difference be taken out of your federal return to pay the state owed money? JR?
Quick answer is no. Usually I explain to my clients that those two entities don't talk to each other. So you'll need to handle each of them separately and individually. So if you owe one but getting a refund from the other, they will not offset each other or do any kind of adjustment. You need to handle it by writing a check or sending them payment.
All right, speaking of those two entities not talking to each other, this next question is about unemployment benefits. Do they count as taxable income? And the answer is yes and no. So Ryan, let's start us off with that.
All right, so yes, if you have unemployment during 2020, it is considered taxable in both for federal and for state purposes. However, the first $10,600 or $10,200 that you earn for federal purposes is not taxed. However, all of it is considered taxable income in North Carolina.
Yeah, and so that is a big deal. So federally, you can waive that first $10,200 in income for unemployment benefits, but for the state you can't. And the tax software has now been updated. So if you're doing your taxes now, all of that's happening. But if you already did your taxes, what are you supposed to do, JR?
Wait. You got to wait on the IRS. The IRS just sent out some more guidance stating that you don't need to send an amendment. They will automatically adjust the tax bill or the tax liability portion of the tax return. They did also leave room in there if you think that you'll qualify for some other credits like earned income credit or additional child tax credit, anything else that might come into play because that adjusted gross income has been reduced now, then you'll need to send an amendment. But I'm advising my clients, let's wait and see how much of a check they send you. We'll compare it to the tax return, make sure you got what you were due. If not, then we'll do an amendment.
Yeah, they are pretty clear. No amendments, please, because they've got all that they can handle, and no calling because there's no use in that either at this point. Ryan, this person is asking a question I've never thought of before. Is a tax refund counted as income if it's over a certain amount?
Boy, that is a complicated answer, Tanya. So typically, yes, your tax refund for federal purposes is not ever considered as income. In certain cases, your state refund could be considered taxable for federal purposes. But in order to do that, you have to itemize on your taxes and you have to deduct your state income taxes as part of your itemization. And even in some cases where folks have deducted their state taxes, it may not be taxable at all. The IRS has a wonderfully complex worksheet to figure all that out. So the quick answer is federal, no, state, maybe.
Okay, gotcha. All right, but that doesn't happen that often.
Not too often.
Okay. All right, so JR, this question is, my refund says it's still processing, and I did my taxes on February 25th. What is going on?
Again, we're waiting on the IRS and their infinite wisdom to finalize the processing. So If it's been longer than 21 days, a common pattern I'm seeing this year is you either used a rule called prior year earned income to calculate some of your refundable credits, or you're asking for your stimulus money if you didn't receive the right amount, either last year or the one early in January. If you're asking for either of those two things, the stimulus or using prior year earned income, that could warrant a longer wait time for the refund. We're hearing up to 10 weeks from the IRS. So that's probably what happened in that case. Watch your mailbox for any correspondence. They might be wanting to do an ID verification or a wage verification, but chances are they just need more time.
All right, and you're hearing from the IRS 10 weeks if there are some complications like that.